Andri, how you going? Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, brother.
No worries. So last time I saw you, we were both, you were co-facilitating the workshop in Iceland, part of the Wim Hof teaching and training, and yeah, we connected pretty well. And we were able to sit down and have a chat about your story, and yeah, your story stood out to me in a very interesting way, and that you have experienced many contrasts within your own body and experiencing what mobility and health and that means for you. And I think that's important. And I guess what I'm after is that for you to just talk about that story, and to maybe start off with, I guess the accident that probably shaped a lot of your adolescent and early to middle age life, and yeah.
I was in gymnastic from 5 to 13, and I was okay. I was practicing every day, and I was in a really good physical body, and I could do a lot of stuff. And then I had an accident when I was 13. I was climbing and on a building, and I fell 2 floors down, and I landed on a railing and on my back, and I got paralyzed beneath the waist.
Did the pole? Where did the pole enter?
No, it just I just landed on it, and my back, I just went like boom. And I remember just lying there, and I couldn't move. The ambulance came and took me to the hospital, and they were just putting some needles in my butt or my legs and trying to figure out what's happening. And it took 2 hours until I got something happening again in my legs. 3 hours later, I was just fine almost. Didn't even tell my parents about this. They got to know by the school authorities that this had happened, and so I didn't make a big deal out of it. But I was young, and I had to still grow a little bit. So when I started growing, the pain started coming. So much pain, nerve pain, just going all the way down my leg, up my head, constant. I had to quit the gymnastic that I was doing, and without knowing it, I just got drawn into bad company, and I started drinking a lot. By the age of 14, by the age of 14, I started drinking a lot of alcohol, and I didn't realize that until decades later that I just did it because of the pain that I had, and this limited a lot of things that I was doing, both physically and mentally, just to have this over me, because I used to be able to move and do stuff, and so I just kind of prisoned myself, and I just started complaining about the pain, looking for somebody to help me, but not doing anything about it myself because of the pain that I had. Somehow I managed to...
Would the pain just come? Was the pain very random, or were there moments throughout the day, or foods that you ate, or like what spurred it on?
The pain was constant. It was just like you have a button and you have it on, and you have a volume on it. You can just turn it up or down. So I was never pain-free, except when I was drunk.
Wow.
And I didn't realize that until later. That's why I was always drinking more and more and more, to go into that state of letting go of the pain.
And how much do you think you drank? Like at your biggest, or at your, you know, what did alcohol look like for you, and how did it work into your life?
I would say in the end, it was enough to hear when I was sitting in the car and I was driving to the horse stable where I had my horses, and I took my hand underneath the seat and I took the beer can, and when I hear I didn't have to drink. That was the effect of it, just hearing the sound.
The sound was
And
that powerful that...
Yeah, it triggered all the hormones, everything, everything went off in my head, and I just felt the release, just like, yeah. And still just hearing that sound, just like, doom. I don't drink anymore today, but still, imagine, you know, just that sound, just knowing this is happening.
Oh, yeah.
All the chemistry is just boom, on.
And were you, did you find you drink every day, or you drink every weekend?
To begin with, of course, it was just the weekends when I was just a kid, but then it escalated more and more and more, and until almost drinking every day, hiding it from everybody. Still, I managed to raise a family. I had a company. I was working as a carpenter, but I was always drunk. I was always working for myself. I couldn't work for nobody else.
Sure.
So I just was really good at hiding it, you know.
And what do you think, like, what part, like, what did alcohol serve for you? Like, what do you feel like it, apart from the numbing or the pain?
Yeah, it was just an escape from reality, from accepting the thing as it is, you know. This was my reality, and I just couldn't accept it. I was just running away from it. It was just my escape. And I just did that again, again. And
can you remember the moment where you're like, okay, maybe this alcohol thing isn't the best for me?
I think I had like 5,000 moments where I was gonna stop.
Are these thoughts or feelings?
Yeah, and there was just, in the end, when it completely stopped, was when I was so fed up with my life, because all the pain that I had, all the bullshit that I've gone through, that I was doing to myself by just complaining and whining and doing nothing, that I didn't even want to drink anymore. Woke up one day and I didn't want to drink. I had gained over 30 kilos. I was taking all these pharmaceutical drugs, like crazy, much of them.
And is this for the pain when you weren't drinking, or to with them together?
No, this was I was drinking with all those pharmaceutical drugs, but I was also, when I stopped drinking, I was just taking all those drugs still.
And were these like painkillers, or were they like SSRIs, or?
They were painkillers. They were something for my spine, because I have a spinal injury. That's what happened. There's something that got off in my spine, where the main spine tail comes down, where all the nerves come in. Something is off there. So my bladder goes up to 1.5 liters. I had to wear those beautiful things that you have to, you know, put up your penis to get out the urine. And there was this one day when I was at home weighing 103 kilos. That's 35 kilos more than I'm used to in what I'm weighing today, or 30 kilos more. And I was trying to put this urine thing in. What's the name of it? You call it a urine?
Like a urine, like a pipe, or it's got a...
Yeah.
It's a pipe into a bag.
Yeah. And I was putting that in, and the pain was so much because I had this. My back was always swollen, completely. Was always swollen. So I was putting it in, and what happened is that I fainted completely. landed on my head. I woke up with this thing still in my my thing, and was bleeding from my head. That's the day that I looked into my life insurance, because my marriage was completely gone, and I had nothing.
How old were you here?
39.
You were 39. Okay.
Yeah.
And how old are you now?
I'm 43.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So in a 4-year period, what's it like looking back at the old Andri?
It's crazy actually to look back into it and to see all all those years, and I was just complaining. I was just whining.
If there was
I had the pain. I had the pain in my back, completely true, but I didn't do anything except I was always waiting for somebody to fix me, or looking for somebody to come and fix me, going to this doctor or trying this and that, but I never did anything myself.
If there was a like, if you could say something to that old Andri back then, do you think there would be words that he would have listened to that you would have said?
No, it doesn't matter, because that's the thing, you know. It has to come from within. It doesn't matter what word somebody had told me. I would have just knocked them down. Just fuck you. You have no idea how I feel. Just fuck you. That's the pain. And when you have that pain and you have that belief system, there's nothing you can do except you believe it. I believed I could not do anything. I was always I gave my power away to somebody to fix me. And that's why I didn't fix me. I didn't fix.
And the moment that you found yourself, do you think that moment came from the fainting moment in the bathroom and the bleeding head?
Yeah, I think that was my wake-up call. Like, either I just kill myself and get this money from my daughters. I had 2 daughters, or I just turn this around. And I remember a friend of mine, my brother actually, he told me about a guy in Iceland that was teaching movement, like Ido Portal Movement.
Oh yeah.
And I looked at that guy on the videos and I was just like, I want to be like this guy. Because I was like that when I was in the gymnastic. I could do stuff. And so I always had this dream that I want to do something. And I just started, I went on the computer and started looking for this this program that was here in Iceland, and I found it. And I looked at it, and it was starting in half an hour.
What was it?
Ido Portal Movements.
Okay,
yeah.
So it was a movement workshop.
Yeah, and I remember I just drove down there like crazy. I bought 3 months, and I just started exercising. I threw all the drugs out that I was taking, and I just started showing up an hour earlier, staying an hour longer, just doing the work. But I was completely dying in the end. And after 2 weeks, I was giving up completely. Then I remember the guys, they started talking about Wim Hof, the Iceland. And when I heard them talking about it, I said, are you talking about the crazy guy that's always walking on his underwear everywhere, like completely lunatic? And they looked at me and said, Andri, you were here trying to do something. Why don't you just look into this? And I did. And
can you say that again?
And I did. And I went online and I bought a 10-line on course with Wim Hof. And I started doing it. And after 3 weeks of doing the program, I got rid of migraines that I had over 20 years. I got rid of my depression that I had over 20, 30 years. And my back pain and my nerve pain, it went down 90%. just by
Wow.
going into the cold
And
and doing breathing.
how does depression feel like for you?
Depression feels like hell. It feels like it's hopelessness. There's nothing. You don't want to be there. There's like, you have this feeling over you of desperation, of not be able to do anything. And therefore you believe it and you don't do anything. And yeah, it's a funny place. And I've noticed, you know, if I don't do the breathing, if I don't go into the cold, I can go easily back to my old habits of feeling those things, you know. I'm not on
feeling or thinking?
Feeling also, yeah, both thinking and feeling.
Which one
And
comes
then,
first?
I would say it sneaks up in you. It could be, I can't say which one it is. It just sneaks up on you. It's
Yeah,
really,
I agree.
yeah. And, you know, because the workshop that I'm doing, you know, I tell people that, you know, I managed to do this and that, but that doesn't mean that I'm on a pink cloud and just like, hey, I got it all under control. No, this helped me. The cold, the using breathing and just taking back the power, because, and the more I think about it, it's like, it's just a belief system.
As in the cold or depression?
No, I mean, it's just a belief system. You know, even if you have physical pains, it's the belief system that you build around it that makes your reality, and you believe it completely.
Okay.
And
Now, pause here. I love this, right? But for you to get there and for you to say these words,
yeah,
it's been a process, right? It's not some book that you read and
no.
Actually, has your video frozen?
Yeah, I see, but you are not frozen. I see you here.
Can you still see yourself moving?
No, I'm not moving.
Yeah.
Wait. Could know what it.
Great. So the belief system around what the cold is and what is it for you. This is from what I understand of your story and your journey, that it's not just a book. You know, it's not just. It's been a big process for you to completely rewire that. And if there were, you know, from what I can hear, that moment of that trauma on the bathroom had, and then moving forward with that, a workshop, and then moving forward with that, the Wim Hof Method. So, you know, what I hear is like you're constantly, there's been three or four big moments where you've constantly proven to yourself that the narrative that you had before about what you could do within your own self and body had changed. And then that momentum kept on rolling. Would you say that's yeah?
Yeah, that sums it up basically, because you know, for me, I needed to go through those things to wake up, to realize that I needed to do something. And when I started moving and I had this just energy in me, just I need to do this. I'm gonna do this. I was just I need to do this.
And when did that really start to, you know, if that's the start of the fire? When did you really feel into that?
When I just completely gave up and was really deciding on just killing myself, just so my girls could get the money from my life insurance. As my everything was gone. The work that I've been doing, I had nothing. And I said to myself, I'm not gonna have this life of misery and have my daughters around in that. It's better that they have some money for her mother to take care of them. From that despair, you know, but then I had just this clarity moment of just like, hey, do something. And when I started the movement, it was as hard as hell. I was giving up. Then suddenly the guys were talking about Wim Hof. And I heard about it and I just like, fuck, I'm gonna do it. And when I started going into the ice and using it to take down the inflammation in my body and take my nervous system down, get control of my own life, everything started to change. And just in 3 weeks, migraine gone, my depression, just like, boom, I was alive completely.
So, you know, have you always lived in Iceland? You were born and raised in Iceland, right?
Yeah.
And so you've been used to the cold and the wind and harsh conditions for a long time.
It's not that cold in Iceland. That's the thing. It's like we live in houses with 25 degrees inside, you know. And my ex-wife, it was 27 in there, you know. It's like
I know. I've been I understand. But the wind can, you know, on the coastline, the wind can pick up.
Yeah, it can. But then you just stay inside or you dress up, and so being from Iceland, that I couldn't put my little finger in the cold water, you know.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I wanted to get to, is, you know, two questions is like when you started the, I guess, really deepening your relationship with the cold and the cold water.
Yeah.
How long do you think it took you to really know that this is good, and that, you know, we were talking about surrendering, you know, and I guess I met you at the Wim Hof course, so I understand what it's like to fight versus surrender. And how long did it take you to surrender to that?
It took me just a few weeks. Yeah, because I started in the showers, you know, using the cold water like that. But when I started going into the cold pots, you know, the big ones were with just ice in it and cold, and going in there and just totally surrendering to it, not fighting it. That's when this clarity came. There's nothing. And my nervous system just like slowed down. It's like you can't fight the cold. The cold, you need to surrender to it.
Do you think there's a moment where we should fight the cold?
No, never. Unless you're just you walking on water and on icy water and the ice breaks and you go in there, of course you fight it and get out. But fighting the cold, no, never. You'll just die. You know, nobody can fight the cold. You will get hypothermia in the end and die. It's simpler.
So this idea about hypothermia, right? Now, a lot of the scientists would say hypothermia is very real. Now, how much of you think hypothermia is a belief system? Do you think hypothermia is like, what percentage of hypothermia do you think is thought-based? Thought and feeling-based. So like they both tie in together.
You know, there are not a lot of research that just recently, you know, have really good research on hypothermia. They didn't have that, and they started having this in the World War because all the soldiers were dying. They started researching why are they dying in the cold. Before that, nobody knew what hypothermia was. Hypothermia, it's just very simple. Your core temperature drops.
But does it?
Yes.
By how much?
If you go down below 32, your brain doesn't work, and you just die, and your body gives up. You don't have any shivers anymore or nothing. You just die. Unless somebody can reach you and help you and try to do something, you lose control completely. I've gone in a really bad state of hypothermia when I was doing an ocean swimming. And
tell me a little bit more. When was this?
This happened, I think, I would say a year ago. I was really tired. I had been doing a lot of cold therapy and walking up the mountains and just a lot of cold therapy. And it was a weekend of like a marathon of cold therapy. And I was really tired. So on Sunday when I went to sleep, I usually wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I woke up at noon on Monday. And I was so tired. I was just like, my body was just like, hey, okay, I'm just gonna take a pause in the cold now. I've been doing way too much. I just felt my body was telling me that. So at 5 o'clock in the day, I went down to where we do the ocean swimming, and I was just gonna go in the hot pot. They have a huge hot pot there, and I was just gonna go down there, and I was just gonna stay there and just relax. Then the guys, they came, they had some new people that wanted to do some ocean swimming, and they saw me because I had been doing a lot of this cold therapy and teaching, and they were like, hey, Andri, can you come and help us and teach them how to do this? And I was like, I was cold in the hot tub, you know, I was just like, recently went in the hot tub, and I was just like, and then my ego kicked in. Yeah, of course. And I went with them and we started swimming, and I remember swimming and I was looking at the new people that were swimming, and it was just like, okay, it's no ego, we go, listen to your body, you know, just if you're cold, go out, okay? And we swam a little bit more, and then most of the people, they just stopped and they went, no problem. They just were there for a few seconds up to a few minutes. Two other guys that have been swimming a lot, I kept on swimming with them, and they were like, hey, let's go a little bit further. And when we were at that end, they were like, oh, let's go to the next place and next place. And the ocean was 2 degrees, and we stayed there for 25 minutes in the water. And I remember in the ocean.
How cold do you think the water was?
2 degrees.
It's 2 degrees, okay.
Yeah. And after those 25 minutes, I started swimming ashore. And I remember my arms just like, boom, not working. And I looked at the guys, and they were similar as me, but they just kept on swimming. They were in front of me, and I couldn't call them. I couldn't do anything. And I just remember, okay, I have to get to shore, otherwise I'm gonna die. And I just started swimming and swimming and swimming. And somehow I managed to go to shore. The guys, they went up. They went where the hot tub was, and there was a doctor there and a nurse that saw them, and they were like, hey guys, sit here, you're in a really bad shape. And they started talking to them and doing something. I remember getting out of the water. I don't remember anything else. And time passes. It was really cold weather outside. They are just all in the hot tub, working on the guys. This is maybe 15 minutes later or something. Suddenly I show up, and the doctor, I know her very well. She said that she looked up and she saw somebody coming, and she said, oh, this old man that is walking there, he's having a stroke. So she ran up, and then she realized it was me. I had lost half of my body completely. It was just numb. I have no memory of this.
Was it the upper part or the lower part that was numb?
My side, my left side was just done.
Oh, wow. So no feeling, no movement?
Nothing, and I don't remember anything. And I could have passed out in the water or walked the other way. Somehow I walked the way to where all the people were. I have no idea how I did that. And she took me and put me aside, and I was knocked out. I didn't talk, nothing. I started gaining conscience after like 45 minutes. Then she had put me next to the hot tub, or a little bit in the hot tub. I have no idea. And they kept me there for 1 hour, just talking to me and working on it. So my core temperature dropped. I don't know how much, but she talked about it had gone really, really, really low for this to happen. And
Interesting.
And this happens, you know. And especially if you think about, you know, people are doing cold therapy here in Iceland a lot. They go in the swimming pools, they stay in the hot tubs, and they go, because they see other people going into the cold pots, they go into the cold pots and they look at the time, and they're trying 3-4 minutes or 5, or just like, wow, I can do it. And then they stand up and they run straight into the hot tub again. And, you know, after 1 minute in the cold pot, you know what happens to your body? It starts to close down extremities, your hands, your legs, the blood vessels, because it's protecting the core. The core has to have its 37 degrees always.
The core meaning from the heart?
Yeah, the heart, the brain, the lungs, the kidneys, all those vital organs. So you don't need your arms, you don't need your legs. So the blood that's in there, it starts to get cold. And the longer you stay in it, it gets colder and colder and colder. And when you get out of the cold pot and you go straight into a hot tub, do you know what happens?
I know what happens from experience, but I don't know what happened, you know, my temperatures.
Yeah, the sensors that detect cold or hot, the hot sensors, they feel all this warmth coming on the body and say, oh, it's okay. So they open up the veins. So all that cold blood comes rushing in, and you are sitting in the hot tub and you start to shiver and you start to feeling a little bit dizzy, or like, oh, what's this? It's strange. And you're getting a cold shock, not a hypothermia, but you're getting a cold shock. Your temperature is dropping a little bit. And there is no science saying that this is healthy. On the opposite, there's nothing healthy with that, having that cold shock in the hot tub. And this is what I've been fighting here with people not to do.
So then what did you learn from it? Like this experience, it sounded quite profound.
I learned, this was the best experience ever. I remember waking up, just trying to figure out where I was, what was happening. Then I just came in flashes, and I just started smiling. And they were like talking to me like, hey, what are you okay? Okay. And I said, I am so grateful for this experience.
Oh, that's nice.
Because I just let my ego completely take over, and it nearly killed me. It nearly killed me because I did not listen to my own body. I listened to my head. And that I nearly died. Simple.
And, you know, prior to that day, do you like, I guess, do you believe that you had adrenal fatigue, or your body was just recovering? Like, let's just say hypothetically now you were to go down to the same spot and you were swimming in the cold for, again, the same period of time. How do you feel like your body would be now?
I did that the week after. I went in.
I love it.
I swam exactly the same.
Why?
But because to prove to myself that it was my body, it was not my mind. It was my body that was tired completely. I was not ready. I should have listened to. A week later, I was full of energy, and I said, I can do this. And I felt I could do this. And I went very calm in the water, swam all that way, came up, nothing.
Yeah.
Week later.
So the big lesson is
The big lesson is always listen to your body, not your mind.
Yeah.
Because the ego can take you many places. The cold is not a competition.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a competition. I'm not doing it's fucking cold, you know. Who goes into a cold tub, you know, or cold water just for the fun of it, you know? I wouldn't do it. I do it because it takes down, it gives me the control of my nervous system. It takes down inflammation in my body. It completely saved my life. And if I don't do it, I feel my back gets worse again. I start getting more inflammation. So I'm doing it because it worked. And when you start doing the breathing exercises and combining it with a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff starts to change in your belief system. You know?
Sure, because you're proving to yourself that you can do something that you've told yourself you can't for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you think with you said that if you don't do cold work that the pain comes back? If the pain comes back now, how does that pain feel versus before?
It's just tiny, because I don't let it go too long, and also I don't think about it. I think about it as I'm cured.
Interesting, yeah. And then all the rest is maintenance.
Yeah. It's just maintenance. It's just like your car is getting dirty, just clean it. Simple.
Yeah.
Put some wax on it.
I flagged this question before, and I just want to go back to it quickly, but you said you're on quite a lot of different drugs and medications.
Yeah.
But I guess if and I know pain is a very broad spectrum it's just very broad. You know, we can all experience the different amounts of physical and emotional pain. I guess, would there be something that for someone that had your type of nerve pain, would there be something that you would want to say to these people that were possibly on medication? Like a message that you learned from taking drugs and then not taking drugs. So you've seen this amazing contrast of what life is like with drugs and then without them. And, you know, I know you quite well, and my gut tells me that you will never take drugs again. You know,
exactly.
The pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah. You know, in my case, I can only talk from my experience. It's just, I have this just, drugs don't work, they make you worse, you know, the song. It's just like...
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, that's just... And that was true in my thing, you know. I was taking this for the nerve pain, this for my bladder, this for depression, this for this, and blah, 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 blah. And when people started around me like, hey, you're taking a lot of drugs, are you sure about it? And then I started justifying it. They're like, yes, because this one takes down the nerve pain, and I have to take this one for this and that. And it's just fucked up. It's just really fucked up. Because if you think about it, you know, I had physical pain, like super physical pain in my back. My back was always swelling. I had this nerve pain. My ass muscles, my glutes, they were like from a 90-year-old person. They were none.
They never fired.
No, they never fired. And I couldn't walk. If I walk half an hour, I started limping. I couldn't walk upstairs a lot because then the back got worse. But I didn't do anything. Do you see that? I didn't do anything. Sure. I just complained because I had the pain. And that's so true. You know, if you have the pain, why do you want to move? But the thing is that you need to move. You need to do something, because if you don't do anything, nothing happens. If you do something, something will happen. It's like the bike chain. If you take a bike chain, a rusty bike chain, you open it up, take it down like this, you hold it, And that's me, just like not moving, just hurting everywhere. And if I start doing some exercises, then it's like taking the WD-40 and just put it here, and here, and here, and how is that chain? It's just like, it's not working. You need to put it on it all to make it work, even if you have the pain, because if your glutes are not working, how do you think your back is? And my back was hurting like crazy because I didn't have no glutes, because I was always, oh, I can't do that, I can't do that. I was always limiting myself, always.
Sure.
And when you do that, when you constantly limit yourself, of course, nothing will happen. And the thing is also, when you start limiting yourself like that, you're limiting every growth that you can ever have. You take it away. There's no chance. And you feel the pain, you are the pain, of course you believe it. And if somebody comes and tells you, hey, just try not taking drugs,
why do you think you believed it so much?
Here's the thing, because it was true.
And who creates the truth?
That's the beauty. You do. that's the thing. It was my belief. It was my belief system. It was my thoughts. I had the pain. I owned it. I owned it all. Sadness, the pain, everything of it. It was mine. I created it. Some of it was created by my parents, my coworkers, my spouse, all put in the box that's called me. And all those beliefs and thoughts and experiences and pain and pleasure, everything in there. And I look at the box and it just has my name on it, and this is me. And changing? No, how can you change it? This is the box. You are the box. How are you going to change it? You believe it. If I tell you, hey, look at your sweater you're wearing, it's ugly, and that maybe hurts you. But who is doing it? You. You took the words and you created something happening that triggers out some kind of chemical that makes you feel hurt because you're not good enough, or you are afraid of something. And here's the best part. When you go into the ice water, the cold, and you totally surrender, it's like if we were in a room together and I would sneak up on you and say, hey, I'm just going to run out and just close your eyes and just take care of my dog for me. I'm going to run out. And you open your eyes and it's a tiger. How do you think your nervous system would go? It would just like, bam!
Yeah.
Flight and fight completely. You would have no control. You would just do anything. You would just start to run out of the window or something. I see that when I put people in the ice. They just jump out. They have no idea how they did it. When you try to fight it, it doesn't work. But when you surrender to it, you shut down that. So if you learn to really give in to the cold, and I would turn the light on and you would have the tiger in front of you, you would just, fuck, it's a tiger. Okay. You have options. The other one, you don't have options. You just react. And when you react, what happens? It triggers chemicals, some kind of feelings, and you believe them. Fear, you believe it, or fuck, it's hopeless. Whatever it is. And you believe it because of your thoughts. But when you go in the ice and you completely surrender to it, you have this power of just, hey, just pause and think without letting the system think for you, take over. And somebody is driving in front of you and hits a brake and you get mad, or somebody, gives you the finger, you lose control. And you're just like, what the fuck?
If surrendering was a feeling or a color within you or a state, how does that look like for you?
Surrendering.
Because you've been fighting for a long time.
Yeah. I'm still am. But it's just like looking at the stars.
I like that.
It's just like looking at the stars. Just go outside and look up at the stars. You know nothing. There is nothing. They're just stars, and you're just amazed. And that's surrendering. You're just amazed. Completely. That's what I get.
Do you believe that the cold and the state that we can get into is an altered state when we're in the cold? Is it altered, or is it blank?
You can always go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Interesting. Can you express this? Are you able to articulate what deeper means?
Yeah, it's the surrendering. If you think about
surrendering of who? Surrendering of what?
Surrendering of your nervous system. Surrendering of letting go of all thoughts of everything. And how do you do that? You breathe in the nose and you let go. You don't, because you can breathe in, you're not letting go. You can breathe in, you're not letting go. If you breathe in and you let go, you go, you just give up. You just give up completely. You just let go. And as soon as you're in the water and you start doing that, everything stops. As soon as your thought goes and you're like, oh, this is not that bad, or oh, I can stay a little bit longer. You know, that's the first indication you're not letting go. So the only thing you need to do is breathe again.
That's so true. Yeah.
And let go. And when you start opening your eyes, looking around, you just need to close your eyes again, breathe in, and let go. And you can stay a long time in the water like that. But of course, when you start to shiver, you just take a deep breath in, you let go, and you exit the water. And you don't need to stay more than 3-4 minutes in a cold water to get all the benefits. That's the beauty.
Yeah.
That's the beauty. But you need to let go. And how do you let go? You just breathe and you just surrender. You let go.
I guess for someone that has done extended periods of exposure to cold, I would believe you've done a lot more than me. But I guess what have you experienced the difference is pushing those further limits of, the 2 degree. I think I remember when we went to, the coastline where we jumped in. Yeah. I believe that we spoke about some extended periods of time that you have spent in there. What do you feel like there is a further benefit of spending more time?
For weight loss, yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. But you need to be careful there, because the longer you stay in the cold water, the blood in your extremities, your hands, your legs, it will get super cold. And this blood needs to go back into your body. And your temperature, your core temperature will drop if you go too fast into a hot water afterwards, or you start running around or doing something, because then your heart starts pumping. You need 10 to 15 minutes roughly for that blood to come slowly in. Your body is really wise of how it opens up this blood. It's not like it just like closes the blood here. It's like the sensors of closing the blood, they're everywhere. They're around every vein in your body. And they just start closing slowly and they open slowly again.
Sure.
So if I was like, I lost 30 kilos in 7 months.
In 7 months? Wow. Okay.
Yes. And that was mostly the cold. But I was doing a lot of cold exposure. Today, I would not do it the way I did it. I was staying long period of time in the 20 minutes, 10 minutes. And when I came out, I was just shivering like crazy and fighting it, and just for hours in the beginning. Today, I wouldn't do that. I would rather go 3-4 minutes or 5 minutes in there, go out, walk around, warm myself body up, feel I'm good, then I maybe go a little bit in again.
Sure.
Because in the end, it's not a competition, for how long you're going to stay. You need 3-4 minutes of surrendering time to get all the benefits, to get all the control of your nervous system when you let go. And it's like, I call it the copy paste method. It's like you go into the hot tub, you're sitting there, everybody has this day. There's nothing. You're just in the hot tub and you're just like Homer Simpson on a good day, just like, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no thought or nothing. In the hot tub, everybody has that. Press copy. You go into the cold pot, you go in there, just relaxed, you're going in there, just breathe, you go in, and you feel the cold is coming. Let's say it's an ice bath, so it's like cold, you feel it's there. And if you haven't done cold before, you will either scream or you will just start breathing like totally out of control. What I do with my clients when I take them in, I just let them breathe like that. I just breathe, let it out, just let go, just like takes in the beginning 1 minute to 1.5 for the body to understand that you are trying to let go. In the beginning.
Sure.
When you practice this time goes to nothing. It takes me a few seconds to go in and just go in, and it's cold, and I just it's still fucking cold. But I turn off the stress responses of the need of jumping out. The tiger in the room is now a puppy in the room, and there's nothing. I voluntarily do this, go in there, and I relax completely.
Yeah.
So,
and we spoke about, I guess that you're now running workshops, programs, retreats in Iceland and everywhere. And what's I'm extremely proud, and like I'm just amazed of the work that you're doing. What I guess what drives you apart from your own story to help others?
I don't have words for it.
That's also fine.
No, it's just, it's so much understanding. I see myself everywhere in those people that are coming. Everywhere, in the depression, in the hopelessness, in the things of not being good enough, overweight, chronic pain, massive migraines, just hopelessness. And I just hug them, and I tell them it's okay. Yeah. I totally just understand them. And the thing is that you are always right. Doesn't matter what it is. You are always right. I'm always right. The next person to you is always right. It's just like, just this thought. Have you ever thought about how right you are? you know, because you are always right. You can always make up excuses or justify something or learn something new, and then you learn something new, then you're right because you learned the new way and it's your way. It's your perception of it. You're always right. But have you ever gone out of that box and just think about how right you are? You know, I know nothing. I just know that this works for me, and this is in my belief system today. Belief system. Do you think about what is a belief system? You know, it's a box. You get born and you're put in a box by your parents, by society. Finish your plate. You know, the kids in Africa, you know, they don't have any food. Eat it.
Eat your food, yeah.
Eat your food, you know. Yeah. It's like
and then we eat the food, and then we eat all the food for the rest of our lives. And then what happens?
Yeah. And you learn behaviors from your siblings or in school, you know, they give you stickers if you behave, you know, then you're good enough if you behave, if you do what society tells you to do. And that becomes your belief system. And then you start educating, you start putting more in your box. And in the end, that's you. And you're always right because this is you. It's your feelings. It's your gut feeling. It's your emotional pain or whatever. You own it all completely. And it doesn't matter if somebody read this book, it will change your life. No, it's just, if you believe it, it will change your life. It's, everything is you. You own that box. And you put a belief system around it. This is how it is. And he says, no, this is not for me because this is just the way I am, you know, or like, I'm always stiff, you know, it's just like my body is, I'm just naturally stiff. It's like, it doesn't even exist, you know, naturally stiff. That's just a myth if you think about it. If I would knock you out, I could just like move you all around. It's just your nervous system that takes over and because you're feeling pain. And
it says, no, you're not allowed to move me, sorry.
It's very simple. It's like, I'm just naturally, but people believe this, and it's true. If you believe it, it's your reality, your truth. But, you know, if I would take you to the countryside and put all the animals in front of you, and I would say to you, look at all those animals here. We're going to stop eating them, but wait, we're not going to stop eating animals. No. Come, boy, come. Look at that beautiful Labrador. Come here, come. And we'll take it, and it's like, you know, his back legs, you know, if we take them and we deep fry them, they're beautiful. They're so good. So I'll just take that dog, you would just jump me and say, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know, you wouldn't allow me to do that.
Correct.
But of course not. Why would you allow me to kill the dog? It's like, you never in your life. But
well, firstly, I don't like deep fry. You know, I don't cook. No.
But think about it. But think about this. You would never allow me to do it because that's just something you wouldn't do. But there are not many places, but there are some places in China where you can go to a place that's called Labrador or called Shepherd. And
it's messed up.
But think about one thing. If you take the pig and the dog, intelligently, they are the same.
Yeah,
you can get the same compassion,
so
all that. Yeah. What do? We put them all dirty in a stall all together, and we see this flashing sign called bacon, and we don't even think about it.
Yeah, because I think, especially the emotional attachment to animals, especially pets.
But think about this. That's because it has been put up that way.
Well, yeah, the society creates an industry around it where we over time begin to accept it, and then therefore we become accustomed to it.
And it becomes your belief system. It's like we have an earthquake in Indonesia. 7,500 people died. You read in the paper like, oof, that's bad. You have in Australia, gunmen killed 8 people. Whoa. You see, and that's the belief system.
I think you know, the difference there is one, that there's malevolence. You know, the gunman, there's bad intention. The earthquake is just, you know, Mother Earth or Gaia just saying, hey, yeah.
Well, or you could say that a building crashed, you know, or whatever, you know. There was an earthquake that killed 8 people. You know, it's the same. We detect ourselves a little bit away from, because it's like if you think about it, nobody thinks about this with the pig or the dog, because you just see bacon. You don't think about it.
I believe that a lot of anyone that's health conscious is able to look at these limiting beliefs around animals and our attachment. I've got a good friend, and she's very kind of strict around, like, she's vegan, and she's like, well, you know, pets, like, she doesn't really believe in pets.
Yeah.
And I think it's good she's very, very strong, and it's not her choice. Like, this is her view on life. And I think that's amazing. She's not choosing to have this distaste or this, you know, around pets and zoos and these things like that. But yeah, I think we form relationships based on what these animals are to us over a period of time. And pigs, you don't have pet pigs, you know, unless the Bahamas. I think there's some island where they have a lot of pigs running around. I'm not too sure.
But the thing is that it's just, everything is just a belief system, and this is just a story, and we could talk about it, and everything that we put into it is our story and our belief system, and we can justify it by, it doesn't matter what it is, and we are always right. You are always right. I'm always right. And it's just like a matter of how right are you? Have you ever thought about it? You know, have you ever just like looked?
I think critically, like, the idea of consciousness is to be able to look at multiple angles really quickly. You know, this for me is cool. Like, let's think about the pig. Let's think about the dog. Let's think about, break down all these things quickly and then adapt to that. That's what I believe. We can really look at those limiting beliefs or the deeper narratives quickly. Cool. Like, why do I want this BMW? Why do I want this car? Like, why do what is it going to serve me? Or, you know, whatever it may be. Like, what is my intention of actually doing this or buying this or,
And that's your limit. If you think about it, your beliefs are your limit. So what's your belief system? You know, because that's your limit. Because what is the limit that you have? I limit myself because of pain, and I couldn't do this and do that, and my limit was there. And I made up the limit from pain, but I made it up. I said to myself, I can't do this, I can't do that. If I walk, this happens to me. With my migraine, I said to everybody, you know, if I don't eat in the mornings, as soon as I wake up, I get a migraine. And you know what happened? I got a migraine as soon as I woke up if I didn't eat. Something.
Okay. How much of that is a belief? You think, like, that was a belief, or was it a physiological response to not eating?
Both, because...
Which one's the highest? Which one's at the top?
Because if you think about it, that all the option for my brain to develop something else instead of having the food having not the food that caused the migraine, I took it away by believing that this was it. You know, there was a study that I was reading about where they gave people that were doing chemotherapy a sugar pill. 30% of the people that got the sugar pill, do you know what happened? Placebo. Do you know what happened to them? They started losing their hair.
No way. No, come on.
No. That's how fucked up it is.
Yeah.
They believed that they were having this pill that would probably cause them to lose their hair because it's a chemotherapy, 30% of the people, they started losing the hair. And if you think about that,
okay,
what's even more remarkable is it has the other effect also of all the other negative thoughts that you have. How do you think that affects your body?
Huge. I think losing, you know, especially for a female, losing their hair is a big part of their identity for anyone. Yeah. But I think more for females. So, you know, that being said, it's like, well, cool. If I lose my hair, then I could lose my ability to meet someone. I could lose my ability and then it's going to form bigger. And it's going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. But I think with chemo is like, look, I'm far an expert on chemo, but I know that it is a poison that goes into yourself and then like kills these cells, and then there are lots of repercussions around that. Yeah. But yeah, I like the point about they started losing their hair.
It's just like, yeah, it's ridiculous, you know, just because they believe it. So what are your beliefs? What do you believe? What are your limits? What is your belief system?
Yeah.
You know, how many people do you know that there's a cold going on and they're like, I think I'm getting something in my throat. And what happens? Boom, you get sick. And you get sick. Yeah. Just like that. Boom. Why?
Because you got a cold. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't get sick anymore. After I started doing the cold therapy and after I started telling myself, I don't get sick. I don't get sick.
Sure, because I think you came to this amazing place of ownership of your own self and your ownership of your own being within yourself. Not, I think with pills and all these things, there's a large transfer of ownership of self into something else, and that there's no power. You're not empowering, and then, you know, change that relationship, and then also do process work, and the process work is I guess the cold therapy. It's changing your whole relationship over 30 years or, you know, however many years of conditioning. No, I can't do this. And then it's like, what can't I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the only limit that you have, it's your brain.
Yeah.
That's the only limit that you have. You limit yourself in everything. Even if you are missing an arm, it doesn't matter. You limit yourself in some way. We always put the limit because we believe it. We're not good enough, or we have the fear of, we're not going to try this. We know this works, you know, we limit ourselves, and therefore nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like without my body, you know, I was going to doctors and trying to, can you fix me? Can you find out what's wrong with me? Can you help me? But I wasn't doing anything. I was in physiotherapy, but I didn't do the exercises. I just came there and my back is hurting, or trying this and that, always complaining, just whining. And completely true, completely my reality, completely. But I was just whining. I was just complaining and whining and not doing anything, because I was in pain.
Mm.
And it's very simple, you know.
Yeah, I love that.
If you just look at it, and it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just do something. Doesn't matter what it is. Just do something. And because if you don't do anything, nothing happens.
Do you think the people that are showing up to your workshops, they've obviously made this first step to progress into maybe something that they haven't done before, and to move into this thing that they may scare them and may overwhelm them? I guess like a message for anyone that is having this thought of working with the cold and changing their relationship, I guess, what would you want to tell them? Like what?
No, the cold is a beautiful tool, and it helped me Just like, it was crazy much how it helped me get in touch with myself and getting rid of the pain in my body. But the more that I think about it, the more and more I think about it, it's the belief system that you have.
But then who changes the belief system?
Yeah, that's the tricky part, you know, because how if you're in pain, if you are in suffering and you believe it, you feel it, it's real, you are, it's true, you are, you have the pain, you have the hurt, you have the emotions going, how are you not going to believe it? That's the thing, you know. But when you go into the cold and you surrender and surrender and surrender, you get that moment of clarity of nothing. There's nothing. And the more you start doing that and doing breathing, starting moving, you start questioning your belief system. You start looking at things in different way. You start to you start waking up.
Waking up to what?
You're waking up from the victimhood, the drama, all this, you know, there's so much going on.
I think you're peeling back, or you're stripping down the walls of your own self.
Yeah. Because in the cold, there's nothing. When you totally surrender, there's just nothing. And, you know, there is no limit. The only limit is you. Yeah. It's your mind. So learn on that. How do you learn? How do you know how you learn? How do you know what makes you tick? What makes you smile? What makes you do it? Why does it? Do you just, oh, I have a beer and it takes away my pain, I'm just going to keep on doing that, you know? And the question, why do I need the beer to do that? Why do I need to take those pills? Do I just complain all day? Or do I move? Do I try to do something? And if you don't do anything, then question it. Sure. Just question yourself. Question the bullshit that you have in your head. Because there's a lot of it.
Do you think it get, like, I guess this is, you know, from someone I believe that's worked on myself as well. Do you think it gets tiring questioning all your old belief systems at times?
Of course. Of course, because there's so much bullshit in it, you know. It's like, most of it is just bullshit that has been put in there by society, the school system, and habits, and it gets tiring. And for you to be questioning it all the time, like breaking yourself down, you're not good enough, you need to fix this or that, then you just fall into another trap, you know, you're not good enough, you know, you go into the yo-yo, just like down and up. You need to break yourself down to fix something. I need to be better in this. I need to fix this. No, you don't need to fix anything. You just need to wake up and realize, who are you? What are you?
Do you think there's ever a moment where we go, okay, this is who I am?
No.
I would agree. Agree. Yeah. I think there's levels of a deeper acceptance of your I guess your deeper identity of who you really are, and I think there's deeper levels of acceptance within this world of breaking down limiting beliefs and doing things. Yeah,
it's so much fear in everybody. The fear is just holding you back, and you don't want to change. You're just afraid of if you try something new, it won't work out, and you start limiting yourself again and again and again. It's fear. Fear is everywhere. Yeah. It's put down on you. You know, like if you don't educate yourself, you will not get a job. You know, you and fear. Okay, I need to educate myself. And fear and fear and fear and fear. You know. You need to look good, you know, you need to do this, you don't need anything. You just need to be okay. And are you okay? Most of the time people are not okay. They are always trying to, well, you know, we're just gonna do this. We take it like this. You know, we're gonna be tough. It takes 1 year or 2 years. We got just gonna do this. You know. And here in Iceland, there's a word called reddast. That means like this will work out, and it's like written in the whole nation that we are proud of this. Yeah, we go through tough times. We can do this, and it's such a bullshit. You see people now again and again coming to my workshops and just all over Iceland, just like completely breaking down because they're just done. They have nothing left because they've been trying and trying and trying and trying and using this old myth of like how tough we are and we can just do this.
So you're saying that belief system of we can do anything, but yet, you know, what I can hear is like the contrast of knowing within our own selves that we can do things, and then it's part of your national anthem that you can keep going and progressing, but yet you feel like it's not innate.
Yeah, because people just take all those motions and all that's happening and they just put it aside. They put it in the box.
Where's the box?
Yeah. The box of closing your heart.
Yeah.
The box of closing the emotions. The box of just like, well, it will be tough, but we will do this. You know?
Yeah. How long does that last, huh?
Yeah, and or the fire department, you know, the guys that are driving the ambulances and all that, like in the old days, you know, they had nobody to talk to about. They came up to an accident and all that shit that they had to go through in their work, and they come and what do? They go drinking downtown, beating somebody up or their wives or whatever. This is how it was in the old days, and it's still in many places, you know.
Yeah.
That because you put in a box, box. I have so many boxes, it's not even funny. I put all in the box.
Sure.
And then I just run away. And that was my trick, running away.
So at the start we were talking about the name and I guess of your workshops and what you know, it's an Icelandic word or a sentence. So this is your branding or sorry, not your branding, but how are you using this phrase?
Yeah. HÆTTU VÆLA KOMDU.
Hold on, I'm going to say this with you. HÆTTU KÆLA.
Nei, HÆTTU að væla.
HÆTTU VÆLA.
KOMDU að KÆLA.
KOMDU að KÆLA.
Yeah.
Okay.
HÆTTU VÆLA KOMDU KÆLA.
Great. I've learned something. And what is it? What is it to you? And then what message is that?
It's just stop complaining, get in the cold or join the cold, you know, just like stop complaining, start doing something in a good way, because everybody complains and it's real. I was complaining for over 30 years, or whining, actually complaining, just like feeling sorry for myself. Oh, poor me, I have this, that. And I've heard so many people tell me, you know, just when I've read the name of it, and there was this woman that wrote a comment underneath the advertisement, just like, oh, just by reading this, what an arrogant this guy must be, you know, he doesn't know. And that's coming out of so much pain, you know. She's reading it in her own pain.
Yeah, it triggered her because she's been complaining her whole life.
Yes, and if somebody had come to me 3 years ago, you know, like, hey, you can just stop complaining and do this, I would have just knocked them down. I would have knocked them completely down and just like, fuck you. You have no idea how I feel, motherfucker. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Completely true. Completely true at that time.
Yeah.
No, but I could not have talked to myself 3 years ago and just like, hey, come, do this. You can do it. I would just say, bam, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So I'm just gonna ask you some random questions. Some questions. Would you say that there's a most influential book that you've read that has, we talk a lot about belief system. I believe books they can plant the seed to change the beliefs. Yeah. You have to change it, obviously, but the books can give you access to a separate reality, a separate way of thinking, a separate language.
I read Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle.
Awesome.
That was a really, really, really powerful book.
And also, what? Who are the earliest teachers or experiences that you had in life, and what did you learn from them?
I would say that it would be my gymnastic teacher.
Wow.
What I learned, because I learned
5 to 13, right?
Yeah, I learned a lot of discipline of just like, and belief and focus that I could do the exercises that I was going to do. Remember it, I got this focus of just like, I can do this. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Where do you think that discipline, like it appears that discipline went on a holiday for a short period of time and then you found it again?
Oh yeah, it just vanished, with the accident completely. The pain took it away.
Isn't it amazing that, that there's been, multiple moments of trauma, but a big trauma and then a period of going through this and that process, and then another little trauma like the head on the bathroom with the tube up there, and then it changes everything. So
it literally did. But what I'm realizing is that I'm still working on. I'm not another fact. I'm still working on those 30 years of complaining and doing. It did a really bad habit that I've been working on getting rid of, and that's laziness.
Yeah,
that's laziness. It's just lazy as fuck.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I've been realizing it just more and more and more, and it's a really and I think that a lot of fear comes with that, It's better not to do anything, just to make sure that you are just still with your pain or with whatever it is, so you don't have to deal with anything.
Sure.
And when something comes up, and just running away. And I think that would be like the biggest thing, And this is what most of people do. We're lazy as fuck, if you think about it. We are.
How have you been lazy? Like what are the most things that you've been lazy at?
Of not trusting myself or not believing in myself.
Oh, brother, I love that answer. I love that answer.
Yeah.
Beautiful answer. What would be your 3 highest values, and how did you get there?
Yeah, I would say it's believing in myself.
Yeah.
That's the highest value ever, And how do I get there? By believing. By believing, and that's work. That's work, because doubt is the worst enemy there, It holds you back completely.
And doubt is easy as well.
It's so easy.
It's so easy.
Doubt,
you can't do this, you dickhead. Nah.
Yeah. Just get an ice cream and just like think about it.
It's so much easier. Yeah.
And then you don't do shit. Yeah, you don't do shit because you're just like, no, I'm not sure. What does this person think about it? I'm not sure. How would it look for me? No. And you don't do anything. That's been something that I've been struggling with, of just believing in myself.
Yeah, I love that. What do you feel like your biggest loss has been? Oh, actually, sorry. You got to give me your 2 other values and how you got there. I know how you got to yourself. Yeah. What is something that you find easy, like painless to do every day. Like you don't have to think about it, but it's part of your life and you enjoy it and you get joy and
letting go.
mm.
Just like letting go of the bullshit.
Beautiful.
How do I get there? I go into the bullshit. I cut myself in the bullshit and I need to let go.
Awesome.
I need to let go. And value number 3, it's caring, you know. It's caring. It's like caring and sharing, you know. That's the value that I have of just like I really care. And how do I get there? People just come. I don't know. I'm meeting people everywhere. I'm not just like, it doesn't matter where I am. I'm at the grocery store or at the builder shop, you know, buying something without knowing, you know, I'm just have this monologue with people, not a monologue, but you have this conversation with people where we're just talking and suddenly we're just sharing a lot of information and this understanding of just that you are okay, I'm okay, it doesn't matter what it is.
Mm.
And the value that I get there is just like, I care.
Yeah. Yeah, the sharing part on a segue, I love all the stuff you've been doing on social media. I like all your stuff. Yeah, and I'll link your Instagram and I'll link all your pages. And also one question. Obviously, Iceland is I think a part in the West that we're fascinated by. What's it like living in Iceland? You know, obviously, have you ever lived anywhere else?
Yeah, I lived in America.
Okay.
California and then Seattle. I was, I think, total 1.5 years. Then I was in Germany for 8 months.
Wow. And why do you feel like people are fascinated by Iceland, apart from this amazing spectrum of diverse landscape?
It's just so raw, the nature. It's just like, just so much power in the nature. It's just like, few people. I would say that. Few people.
Yeah.
People can come here and they can go, you know, out of the city and they can go on the highlands or just like few minutes out of Reykjavik and you're just standing there alone. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's what people are attracted to, you know. It's just like,
it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's bare. It's raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember thinking the same thing. I remember, you know, you driving a lot and me just, we having long conversations in that front seat. And I just remember like nothing, you know,
there's nothing.
And there's not a lot of places that we can go to easily where it's diverse land and it's just raw. It's just, there's just nothing there. There's no trees. There's no animals.
No.
There's no sign of life.
No.
And it's, I see why people are attracted to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say, would you recommend people come and visit Iceland?
Yeah, definitely. But it's very expensive, you know, because we have had so many people coming, so many tourists coming, and all the prices have been raised up. So if you must come, but please stay away so we can get some cheap groceries.
Yeah. All right, my brother, thank you so much. I have so much love for your story, so much love for you. I'm so grateful for, just the time that I spent with you and also this podcast. And
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah.
When are you coming? When are you coming?
You know I'll be back. You know I'll be back. I'll come. We'll talk shit for multiple hours in that car. We can drive around asking people, how do we get to Reykjavik?
Yes, yes.
The best
I love
memory.
that.
The best memory.
Yes. And I've been doing this a lot. I did it with my sister earlier this year. She was in the car and we were in Midtown Reykjavik.
Stop it. I get it first. I can't. I have my tummy already.
And there was a church called Hallgrímskirkja, and we're driving there, and suddenly I just put down the window by my sister's, and she looks at me, what are you doing? It's like, wait. And there's this young woman walking by, and I was like, hey, excuse me. Birna just looks at me, what are you doing? I was like, okay. Then she puts her head almost into the door and it's like, is this Reykjavik?
I can't. It hurt.
And my sister, she's just like, what? It was so funny. Yeah, I've been doing that a lot, you know. It's funny to do that.
Thank you so much, Andri. Thank you so much. Your presence, your smile, your story. Yeah, I'm so grateful. My tummy hurts. Those memories. Yeah.
It was good times.
Thank you so much. Hold on.
Thank you.